JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, decomposed body of taxi operator found in St. Anne. The decomposed body of a taxi operator was found along a section of the runaway Bay Main Road in St. Anne on Saturday. He has been identified as the 39-year-old Gary Rohn, otherwise called Cash, of Butner District in Maypen, Clarendon. Reports are that residents stumbled on the body in bushes about 9 a.m. and summoned the police. The body was seen lying face down in an advanced state of decomposition by officers. It reportedly had stab wounds and gunshot wounds to the upper body. The scene was processed and the body removed to the morgue pending a post-mortem. Unconfirmed reports are that Rohn was reported missing since Tuesday but could not be located by relatives. 2 men killed in St. Catherine on Boxing Day. The St. Catherine police are probing 2 separate murders across the parish on Boxing Day, including the stabbing death of a man in the rural community of Above Rocks. The identity of the deceased man has not yet been ascertained. Reports are that at about 7 a.m., residents found the man's body lying on the roadway in an area of Above Rocks called Two Rivers. The police were alerted, and on their arrival, the body was seen with stab wounds and the throat slashed. The body was removed to the morgue for a post-mortem at a later date. 4 hours later, gunmen struck in Lake Spen in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, killing 30-year-old Rashid Myers. According to reports, about 11:30 a.m., members of the security forces who were in the Lake Spen area heard gunfire coming from the community and went to investigate. Myers' bullet-riddled body was found along Banana Lane in the community. It was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Jamalco brings scare at Christmas. Bauxite company Jamalco donated care packages valued at some $3.2 million to 450 elderly and vulnerable residents in its operating communities. According to the company, the packages included food items to help offset the burden created by the COVID-19 pandemic. Among the items are flour, rice, sugar, crackers, bread, cooking oil, beans, peas, oatmeal, milk, cornmeal, syrup and mackerel, as well as sanitary supplies. Corporate Services Manager Donna Marie Brooks stated that although Jamalco's production has been curtailed, the community decided to reach out to the needy during this Yuletide season. We're cognizant of the negative impact that the COVID-19 pandemic is having on residents, and as an organization, we're here for the people in our operating communities and are always ready to help in a meaningful way. Karen Welsh of Broadleaf in the Armans Valley expressed gratitude to Jamalco. I know the company had stopped producing alumina since August, so I was not expecting anything. I'm very surprised and happy, as I really needed the assistance. Thanks, Jamalco, for remembering me. Brooks added that this activity is an indication of the high regard that Jamalco has for the residents who support our operations and programs annually. We want them to remain strong and healthy during this pandemic, and we'll always try to support them as we see fit. The community relations officers coordinated the distribution of items while meeting the required social distancing protocol. An August 22 fire damaged roughly 50% of the company's powerhouse, which supplies power, steam and compressed air to the refinery operations. 1-year-old girl shot, man killed in gun attack on Hanover Street. A 1-year-old girl was shot and injured while a man was killed at a premises on Hanover Street in Kingston on Monday morning. The deceased has been identified as 22-year-old Anthony Campbell, otherwise called Ansman, a laborer of Hanover Street. Police informed that the toddler is hospitalized in stable condition at this time. Reports on the Kingston Central Police are that about 1:30 a.m., residents heard explosions and alerted them. On their arrival, the lawman found Campbell lying on a bed inside his house with gunshot wounds, while the baby was found suffering from bullet wounds. Both injured persons were assisted to the hospital where Campbell was pronounced dead and the child admitted. Investigations are ongoing. Man dies after falling from bike in Portland. A man died along the Snow Hill Main Road in Portland last night after falling from his bike. He has been identified as Sean Michael Douglas of Red Light District in St. Catherine. It is reported that about 11:30 p.m., Douglas was traveling along the roadway when he fell from his motorcycle and sustained injuries. He subsequently died. The scene was later processed by police investigators, and his body was removed to the morgue for further investigations. Commanding officer in charge of the Portland Police Division, Superintendent Kenneth Chin, said that the police have increased operational activities, including more checkpoints, to boost safety in the parish. 9 homeless after Manchester fire. 9 people have been left homeless after fire ravaged a house in Colleyville, Manchester on Sunday night. Deputy Superintendent of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Ron Powell, said that the brigade received a call at 9:25 p.m. On arrival, the structure was fully engulfed. We were able to bring the blaze under control and carried out cooling down operations, he said. The property loss is estimated at $12 million, while risk is an estimated $25 million. 9 persons were affected by the blaze. The cause of the fire was listed as undetermined, as the extent of the blaze would have destroyed critical evidence. Information received was not sufficient to ascertain a cause, added Powell. Jashi not in police custody. Senior communication strategist at the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Dennis Brooks, has confirmed that recording artist Jashi is not and was never in police custody. This after various news reports that the artist was taken into custody after police stopped an event in Clarendon on Christmas Eve. According to Brooks, the Clarendon police were conducting a patrol when they arrived upon the event only to realize that it was a massive event with a stage set up and an entertainer performing. Persons fled, including the person who was on stage. There were 32 persons taken into custody and charged under the DRMA, and essentially, persons began to report and say that he was amongst those who were arrested and charged. But when we checked the names of the persons who were arrested and charged, his name was not on the list, Brooks said. We were at all material times investigating the event, the promoting of the event, and who was on the stage. The investigations or the probe into the matter continues, and so it may turn out that he was the entertainer who ran from the stage, but again, he was not in lockup, and he was never, he continued. According to Jashi's road manager, who gives his name as Maverick, the artist did not spend Christmas Day in lockup, as was being circulated. Well, Jashi is okay. The news is false, he said. A viral video allegedly taken by a patron at the event shows patrons scampering when a member of the JSAF in a brown uniform gets on stage during Jashi's performance. The entertainer also subsequently used his Instagram account to repost videos of his performance. Maverick confirmed that the cream of the crop artist was booked and present for the show, but insisted that there was no altercation with him and the police at all. Skilled tourism workers exiting sector in droves. Leading hotel operations are losing an entire generation of their skilled labor force to other sectors, following the economic fallout from the COVID-19-induced disruptions to the travel and leisure industry. The tourism sector contributed 9.8% to Jamaica's gross domestic product (GDP) in 2019 and was poised for an even better show in the following year, with experts projecting $4.4 billion in revenue, but various containing measures, including border closures, triggered the shuttering of many hotel operations and affected 170,000 direct jobs. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett acknowledged in an interview that skilled workers are leaving for other sectors, but expressed confidence that the learning curve would be minimal. About 80% of the workforce of tourism are back, but they're not back in the same numbers in terms of skill sets like we had before, Bartlett said. The new demand that the post-COVID tourism is requiring is seeing a change in the skill sets, and that is going to create a further disruption in the supply chain, because you're not going to look for more tech-savvy workers, and you're going to have to look for workers who are more flexible and adaptive. The good thing about the industry is that it trains readily. Jamaica is blessed with workers that have a natural tendency for hospitality, so the learning curve is very narrow. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, 4.3 million people quit their jobs in August 2021, of which 892,000 were hospitality employees. Some 41% of those affected in the U.S. hospitality sector indicated that they endured a reduction in work time. 1/3 revealed that they did not have enough money to meet monthly expenses. Approximately 33% were concerned about their health and safety due to COVID-19, while 10% switched jobs. Nearly 60% said their employer made changes during the pandemic that negatively impacted their financial situation. Milton Roberts, not his real name, a Jamaican manager at one of the island's premier locations, said that workers were exiting the local industry because of similar concerns. There's nothing in tourism for Jamaicans that work in tourism, he said. Roberts argued that while the industry produces the most foreign exchange for the country, more than 98% of workers in the sector are unable to access housing benefits from the National Housing Trust. He also claims that financial institutions are reluctant to do business with their staff, most of whom are contract workers, though employed for over 5 years. Other persons that I hired within the past year are on contracts, and every 90 days you have a struggle because you have to send people on contract breaks, And then it puts a dent in the operation because you can't find the amount of people to cover in that time, the industry player said. Roberts said it is increasingly more challenging to motivate his staff, who continue to get the minimum in salaries, while expatriates are getting numerous benefits. So you walk on marbled floors with chandeliers hanging over your heads, but you go in frustration as you're either paying rent or have to capture a piece of land, he said. A number of skilled workers are now opting for the more lucrative overseas hotel program, while some have ventured into their own businesses. 84 new COVID-19 cases, one more fatality reported. The Minister of Health and Wellness says a 56-year-old woman from St. Catherine is Jamaica's latest COVID-19 fatality. This brings the country COVID-19 death toll to 2,464. The country also reported 84 new cases of the virus on Sunday, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 92,789. Of the newly confirmed cases, there were 44 females and 40 males with ages ranging from 2 months to 94 years. The cases were recorded in Kingston and St. Andrew 20, Hanover 20, St. Anne 17, St. James 8, Westmoreland 7, St. Catherine 5, St. Thomas 3, Trelawney 2, Portland and St. Mary 1 each. The country also reported 150 recoveries, bringing the total number of recoveries to 65,182. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.